Hi, Mrs. Crusoe here. We are doing factored form trinomials where a equals 1 notes. We have 3 forms that we know. We know vertex form, we have standard form, we haven't done too much with that, and we have something called factored form. Okay, and if it's x minus 4 times x minus 2, we know how to multiply that out. In standard form, we could have something like y equals x squared minus 3x minus 18. Okay, so we want to know how we go from standard form to factored form. We want to take this and make it look like that. Factoring is a process of taking a trinomial product and rewriting it as two binomial factors. So this n squared plus 9n plus 18 is the same thing as n plus 3 times n plus what? Well, the last two numbers have to multiply to give you 18, and those same two numbers, so they multiply to give you 18 and they add to give you 9. So 3 times 6 is 18. And 3 plus 6 is 9. So if we did a cross puzzle, we would have they add to give you 9 and multiply to give you 18, and 3 and 6. Here, t squared plus 9t plus 14, they already tell you it's a 2. So 2 times 7 is 14, and 2 plus 7 is 9. So this missing one is 7. Over here, two numbers are multiplied to give you 15. So they already have a 5, so what's the other number? It has to be a 3, because a negative 5 and a negative 3, if you multiply those, gives you 15. A negative 5 plus a negative 3 gives you negative 8. Cross puzzle would like to be the two numbers are negative 5 and negative 3. They multiply to give you 15, and they add to give you the negative 8. So the relationship between the constant used in the binomial factors and the coefficient in the original trinomial, for the constant, what's the relationship? Okay, so the coefficient of the constant is that they have to be, here's the constant, they have to multiply. Okay, to equal the constant. So what is the factored form of x squared plus 8x plus 12? To write the factored form, you're looking for two factors that have a sum of 8. So in a cross puzzle, they multiply to give you 12 and add to give you 8. So they add to give you 8 and they multiply to give you 12. Okay, well 3 and 4 multiply to give you 12, but they don't add to give you 8. 2 and 6 multiply to give you 12 and add to give you 8. So it turns out to be x plus 2 and x plus 6. Okay, so factors of 12 are 1 and 12, 2 and 6, 3 and 4. The only one that works to add to give you 8 are the 2 and 6. Multiply that out. X plus 2 times x plus 6. That's the same thing as taking x and multiplying it by the x plus 6 plus the 2 times the x plus 6, if you like to work it out this way. Multiply that distribute x squared. Multiply x times 6, that's 6x. Remember, this is just a 1 in front. 2 times x is 2x. 2 times 6 is 12. Okay, combine like terms. These are the two that are like each other. This gives you x squared plus 8x plus 12, and that's what we originally started with. Graphing in factored form, we have x plus 6 and x plus 2. So what we do is we take the x plus 6, set it equal to 0, subtract 6, and we get x equals -6. So at -6, I plot a point that's an x-intercept. Okay. Over here, x plus 2, take that, set that equal to 0, subtract 2, x equals -2. So my vertex has to be somewhere right smack dab in the middle of them. So what number's in between -6 and -2? Well, the -4 is. Okay, so my x-intercepts are -6, 0, and -2, 0. This parabola, since it's a positive out in front, opens up. So it has to open up. So my vertex cannot be up here because that would open down. So how can I find it? I can go down 1, right 1, down 1, 2, 3, right another, and I land on that line. So it's the 1, 3, 5 pattern. Check it. Go up 1, out 1. Up 1, 2, 3, out another. Let's do it again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, out another. Okay, and this is 3 from there, so 3 from there. So here's your parabola. It's going to get messy, sorry. Okay, how do we find the y-intercept? So our vertex, oh, we found our vertex. Look, it's -4, and it's down 1, 2, 3, 4. It's not always that, it just turned out to be that. So -4, -4. Y-intercept, plug in 0 for x. So we have 0 plus 6 times 0 plus 2. So what do we have? We have 6 times 2, which is 12. Write it as a coordinate, 0, 12. Factors of 9. We want to know what's the factored form of this. Factors of 9, 1 and 9, 3 and 3. Okay, they have to add to give me -6. Well, in order to add to give me -6, they would both have to be negatives because you have to multiply to give you a +9. So it's x minus a 1. Oops, sorry, not minus a 1. X, so -6. This one gives me -10. This one gives me -6. So it's the -3 and -3, so it's x minus a 3 and x minus a 3. Our factored form is x minus 3 times x minus 3, or x minus 3 quantity squared. That's vertex form. If you set x minus 3 equal to 0, you get x equals 3. Go over to the 3, you only have one x-intercept. That means your vertex is on the x-axis. So it's 3, 0. It's a positive, so it opens up. The x-intercept, there was only one, 3, 0. So let's do our 1, 3, 5 rule. Opens up. Up 1, out 1. Up 1, 2, 3, out another. Up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, out another. Ooh, what'd you just find? You found your y-intercept because it crosses the y-axis. What's that coordinate? 0, 9. How can you find it? 0 minus 3, quantity squared, gives you 9. Factor each expression. Cross puzzles. They multiply to give you the 20. They add to give you 9. Two numbers that multiply to give you 20 and add to give you 9. 4 and 5. So it factors to an x plus 4, x plus 5. This one, they multiply to give you the constant, so multiply to give you 35, add to give you 12. Two numbers that multiply to give you 35, 1 and 35, 5 and 7. 5 and 7 add to give you 12, so it's y plus 5, because it's positive, y plus 7. Two numbers that multiply to give you 15 and add to give you 8. 5 times 3, or 3 times 5, doesn't matter. So it's z plus 3, z plus 5. Two numbers multiply to give you negative 35, add to give you 2. Again, 35 we just did over here, 7 and 5. 7 and 5, if I add them, that gives me 35, but that doesn't give me 2, so one of them needs to be negative. I want a positive 2, so the bigger number has to be positive. Negative 5 times a positive is a negative. Negative 5 plus 7 is 2, because 7 minus 5 is 2. So my factors are x minus 5, x plus 7. If you wrote it x plus 7 and x minus 5, that's the same thing. Why? Because 2 times 3 is the same thing as 3 times 2. Tricky. This one multiplies to give you negative 9, adds, there's no middle term. This is the same thing as saying t squared plus 0t minus 9. So two numbers that multiply to give you negative 9 and add to give you 0. Well, 1 and 9 doesn't add to give you 0 anyway. 3 and 3, it would if one of them was negative. Well, let's see. 3 times negative 3 gives you negative 9. 3 plus negative 3 gives you 0. That's it. So it's t minus 3, plus 3, and t minus 3. If you wrote it the other way, it's fine. Cross puzzle. Two numbers that multiply to give you a negative 27. That tells you one of the numbers negative, and add to give you 6. 27, our biggest friends of 27 are 3 and 9. One of them needs to be negative because I want to get a negative 27. So is the 3 negative or is the 9 negative? The bigger number's positive, so the 3's negative. So that's u minus 3, u plus 9. V squared minus 2v minus 48. Two numbers that multiply to give you negative 48, add to give you negative 2. Numbers that multiply to give you negative 48. Okay, there's a lot of them. 1 and 48, 2 and 24, 3 and 16, 4 and 12, 6 and 8. 6 and 8, pretty close. Let's try the 6 and 8. This tells me one of them's negative. The bigger number is negative, so 8 has to be negative. Negative 8 plus 6 is negative 2. So it's v plus 6, v minus 8. Two numbers that multiply to give you negative 9, add to give you negative 8. 3 and 3, that doesn't work this time. So let's try the 1 and the 9. The bigger number, one of them needs to be negative because I want a negative 9. Bigger number is negative. So that's w plus 1 w minus 9. X squared minus 36. Remember, that's the same thing as saying x squared plus 0x minus 36. Two numbers that multiply to give you negative 36 and add to give you 0. 6 times 6 is 36. One of them needs to be negative because it's a negative here, and 6 minus 6 is 0. So it's x plus 6, x minus 6. Okay. Come down here. The area of a rectangular window is given by the trinomial x squared minus 14x plus 48. The window's length is x minus 8. What's the width? So factor numbers that multiply to give you 48, add to give you negative 14. They already tell you one of them is x minus 8. They already tell you one of them is a negative 8. So what's the other one have to be? Well, 6 times 8 is 48. This tells me they both have to be the same sign because that. So negative 8 and a negative 6 would give me negative 14. My factors are then x minus 8 and x minus 6. They gave us the x minus 8, check. So this is the width. There's your lesson.